Hey everybody, this is Adam Christensen, and yes, the long wait is over. This is in fact part 3. In this, we are actually going to get into Kat Cammack's history of charities and what appears to be financial misdoings. Now, we received an email, and the reason that we found out about this is we received an email from a Republican candidate who was actually running against her a few months ago. They sent us an email and they told us, you need to look into her charity. Now, I didn't even know that Kat Cammack had a charity, but after we found everything else and we started to realize that what we were being told was just not true and she was making up everything else, we decided that we needed to take this seriously. And it's not going to surprise you that we found some stuff that just does not quite add up. So let's get into this. We actually are going to start back in Colorado at the same time period that Kat claims that she was homeless and that she was bankrupted by Obama. Now, what most people know at this point is that they actually ran their 60-year-old sandblasting company into the ground, financial mismanagement. But what most people don't know is that she actually had a charity at the same time called Alpine Leadership International, which it doesn't appear, at least we couldn't find the tax filings from the IRS, that she ever filed it correctly, at which point she actually had to dissolve it less than 2.5 years after it was first opened. Now, this was the first charity that Kat was involved with. What we're going to show here is actually a pattern. There was a second charity that she was involved with, and this one I think you're going to like. So when she was actually in college, she set up her own nonprofit charity. And the goal of this charity was actually to teach Ghanaian refugees how to cheerlead. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, and I don't have time to get into it, but all I'm going to say about this one is you really can't make this kind of stuff up. Oh my God. So we're going to move past this and we're going to go to the part that's actually important to our story, but hopefully someday we do get to circle back and come back to this because it's great. Now, both of the charities that she actually set up were financial disasters, completely mismanaged, and all of the funds, most people don't actually know where they went. We have no idea. Now, in 2017, Kat actually set up another charity. This is the one that we got the email about and were told that we needed to look into. This one is called Grift Foundation. It's actually the official charity for 14 first responders offices, essentially sheriffs, police officers, and fire rescue. Now, on the outside, this charity looks legitimate. It's very large, or it appears to be large, and run and backed by a lot of big names in the community. In 2018, Kat's husband, Matt, actually forgot to file their IRS forms, and they got flagged by the IRS. Now, when he did finally file it, it was done incorrectly to a point where they actually got audited. An extension was filed by Jessica Norfleet, who is actually the treasurer of the Grift Foundation, but the problem was she also filed it incorrectly. She screwed up the Section E form, which basically tells how much money was spent. Now, Jessica Norfleet is a name that you need to remember. It's going to become very important. And basically after this, they had to go out and hire a separate accountant to come in and fix their books. After the accountant was able to fix their books, what was interesting is that their actual expenses came in under $5,000. Now, this is important for two reasons. Number one, if you come in under $5,000 as far as what you brought in or expensed, you don't have to actually release who your donors are. And you also don't have to tell anyone where the money came from. Now, because they had filed incorrectly 2 times, the IRS actually fined them. And so the accountant attempted to basically make a plea with the IRS to say that they had reasonable cause or just cause for not filing correctly. In fact, here is actually what she wrote. I'm just going to read this for you. The entity thought that they could handle the tax filing, but because they are not CPAs and because they experienced public support quickly and beyond their expectations, they realized that they were not qualified. Nor did they have the time. Did you catch that? They just admitted on an official IRS tax form that they are incompetent and lazy. They are claiming that they were not able to handle $5,000 worth of donations to a charity and be able to file the correct forms with the IRS. And on top of that, they are saying that they did not have the time in order to do what was necessary to keep the official charity for 14 first responders, sheriff's departments, and police stations open and done correctly to stay in compliance with the IRS. Now, admitting to be incompetent and lazy, that's pretty bad. But the problem is, it's not true. They're just lying. What they are basically saying is that they did not have the proper qualifications in order to run or know how to run a non-for-profit, which is complete BS because, as we know, Kat has tried to set up multiple ones in the past, and they have all been shot down because of financial mismanagement. And Jessica Norfleet, who, by the way, is a district director for Ted Yoho, She is also the secretary of the Grift Foundation. And on top of that, she is Kat Cammack's campaign manager. She knows what the proper qualifications and filings for a not-for-profit is because she has worked with them before. So they lied on an official IRS tax filing to hide what they were actually doing. Now, we have also received word that there is an official IRS complaint that has been filed against the Grift Foundation alleging that they have violated their 501c3 status. Now, Kat and Jessica both know, having worked in government and in nonprofits, that you are not allowed to promote any political candidates using a nonprofit, a charity, a 501c3. Now, the problem is they decided that they didn't care. On their website currently are the logos of 2 state representatives running for re-election, Bobby Payne and Chuck Clemens. More than likely because of the first bad filing and the first audit that the IRS did, and now a second one that will be coming, the Grift Foundation is most likely going to be dissolved. They are going to lose their 501c3 status. Now, here is where it gets interesting, because that audit, I think, is going to tell us quite a bit about where that money came from and where it has been going. Because currently, as I mentioned, Jessica Norfleet has been working for Ted Yoho, has been working as a secretary for the Grift Foundation, and also as the campaign manager for Kat Cammack. Kat Cammack has received a ridiculous amount of PAC money and basically dark money. Now, Jessica Norfleet is actually married to Paul Norfleet, who is a Newberry City commissioner. And as we have now learned, he is actually operating over 11 different businesses, all out of this address. Oh, and he also does the books for an additional nonprofit. If that doesn't look like a Breaking Bad scenario, I don't know what does. The good news is, on November 3rd, win or lose, Kat Cammack's governmental and political career are over. And that is a good thing.